I know that the young'uns did a little bit of South Park stuff on Friday, but I also kind of had a chat, said, look, let's just be careful with the copyrighted stuff because we've already got a strike on the channel. We don't want another one. It's the strike's nothing to do with anything we did wrong. It was actually an image in a thumbnail, which was a hairy back, like it was someone's hairy back, and YouTube saw it as a hairy ass, and that was why we got a strike. Which has all been settled and it's going away in a couple of days, but I thought we don't really want another strike for copyright. But since then, South Park has put some of their clips up on their YouTube channel. So I think it's probably perfectly okay to use some of their YouTube channel stuff to have a look at what we're talking about. Now, Chewie, you've seen the show. Oh, actually, we'll get to that shortly because the first thing I wanted to show you was, quite frankly, the dumbest man in world politics. I've got a couple of things to show you. One is the dumbest man in world politics, and the second is his surrogates, who are the dumbest people in world surrogacy. So this is Donald Trump last week. I actually had this on Thursday night, but I forgot to play it, talking about bringing down the price of medication. You ready, Chewie? Here we go.
We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%. 500%, 1,500%, numbers that are not even thought to be achievable because
they're not achievable. So for people who aren't aware, you can't have anything more than 100% reduction. Once you have 100% reduction, you are on zero. So if something costs $100 and you have 100% reduction, it costs zero. Therefore, if something costs $100 and you have 1,000% reduction, the company's paying you $900 to use their product. So Donald Trump wants to take the prices of medication down by 1,500%. So for every dollar you're now going to spend, the company you're purchasing it off will give you $14 back. So that's pretty good, eh, Chewie? That's a nice socialist change, don't you think? I can almost go one step further, though. They were talking about windmills, and you know that Donald Trump has this thing about windmills, right? And windmills are the worst thing in the world, and they shouldn't exist, and they shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And so one of his surrogates jumps on, I think it's Fox News, to agree with him, and you might be surprised as to what he doesn't know about windmills and power. So this is just a few seconds of Trump, then it'll go to his surrogate.
your oceans, stop the windmills.
Is he right? He's 100% right. Look, just so people understand, wind and solar.
Just so you understand. So this is an education by this man, right? Just so you understand, wind and solar
only work when there's wind and sun. We don't have technology to store the energy from wind and solar. So if you make yourself reliant on wind and solar, then if there's no sun and no wind, you get no energy. It's
So this gentleman is so dumb, he hasn't heard of a battery. We'll play it again. Apparently there's no way you can store wind and solar.
Wind and sun. We don't have technology to store the energy from wind and solar. So if you make yourself reliant on wind and solar, then if there's no sun and no wind, you get no energy.
So that man needs to be educated about things called batteries, Chewie, and how things, when it gets generated through wind and solar, can then be stored in these new inventions called batteries. So I just wanted to start off this conversation with showing you that Donald Trump is the dumbest man in world politics. His surrogates are some of the dumbest people in the world, full stop. And now I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a look at South Park. The thing about South Park that's interesting is it crosses many political spheres. Colbert got cancelled a couple of weeks ago. He was a negative 37 with Republicans, which means for every, 10 Republicans that watched him, that means it would be 47 didn't, to give a negative 37. South Park is +2. So South Park is a positively skewed program for Republicans. And the honest actors out there, like Joe Rogan, and he's being honest in this, is doing this.
Did you see the South Park episode?
Which one?
They did a Donald Trump.
No.
It's fucking hilarious.
I raised my 3 boys on that show.
Bridget Fedesi had a funny quote, like, when you think that they have reached the bottom of the highest level of not giving a fuck, they reach unseen levels. Did you see?
Now, I know lots of you will have big feels about Joe Rogan, but the one thing about that manosphere is South Park is a part of their world. Thing about South Park, and I'm sure all not to educate you guys, what they are is anti the dominant culture. So some people have issues with South Park when they did an episode on transgender athletes, and they basically had Macho Man Randy Savage as a character who was a woman. But that's because in that time there was a very strong culture towards this conversation, and they went against it. They basically go against everything and they skewer everyone. And now what's happening is in the culture that Trump right-wing brosphere is dominant. So they're going against it. I've got heaps I want to play, Chewie, but do you want to say anything? Do we need to explain? So everyone's seen it, eh? We don't need to go through the exact details of it.
So me and a mate watched it this weekend, and it must be over a decade since we've watched South Park.
Oh, really?
But I saw all the messages. I saw everybody saying, look, you've got to see this. I saw the White House's tweet saying that they are just scrambling and desperate for ratings. I saw somebody in the Magosphere saying that Matt and Trey need to be jailed immediately. So I had to watch.
Yeah.
I had to watch. And the thought that I had is that South Park termed the phrase the Streisand effect.
Yeah.
Due to one of their episodes. Right? And they really established that. The idea that if the more you try and shut something down, the more people are going to want to see it. It's just a game that you cannot win. So for them to illustrate their own point at this stage, so long after they literally coined it, is amazing. But we were laughing our tits off the whole time and pretty much could not breathe for the final 5 minutes. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. But the fact that these guys have done this literally before the ink dries on a $1.5 billion deal.
No, that's not right. No.
This is not right?
No. 8 billion. So there are two television networks that have come together, Skydance and Paramount.
Oh,
that
so I'm
merger,
not talking about that. I'm talking
no,
about
you're not. I know what
you're
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. So these two companies are merging, and they needed the FCC approval, which means Trump could stop it if they want. The day before that episode came out, that $8 billion deal was done. The day after it, they did this. What Chewie's talking about is Matt and Trey have been very critical of Paramount and very critical of a whole bunch of things going around. In fact, the merger deal held up this series by 2 weeks. They sold 50 episodes plus all the streaming rights to the full catalogue to Paramount for $1.5 billion. And you're right. So that's that deal. So Matt and Trey are now worth $1 billion each. If you look at this celebritynetworth.com. And it's because the day before that came out, they signed a $1.5 billion deal. Matt and Trey did this really clever thing at the start. When they started making this with Comedy Central, Matt and Trey said, in the future, we get 50% of any non-traditional television revenue before the internet, before streaming. And so when a deal gets signed, they get half of it to do with streaming. And of course, everything's now streaming. So that's where they've made a huge, it's one of those stories like George Lucas having the memorabilia contract for the first three Star Wars. It's one of the company kind of, oh, sure, you can go sell some lunch boxes. And there is no such thing as non-traditional television is what the networks thought. And so now they have this contract where they got all that money, and that's how they got it. So sorry, just to give the full picture, Chewie, that's the $1.5 billion. That's their personal take. Personal take. There's like 60 seconds on CNN, just to give us a bit of a rundown of the whole show, what happened and what they did. Let's have a bit of a quick look at what they've done. Oh, there's no sound on that. Let's do that again. That was a good build-up. Here we go.
The small town of South Park, Colorado is protesting against the president. The townspeople claim that the president, who is a great man.
A great man.
Great guy. We know he's probably watching. And we are just reporting on this town in Colorado that's being sued by the president, and they are fighting back.
And just to be clear, we don't agree with them.
Yeah. And so obviously, just for the one person watching that doesn't know, 60 Minutes edited a Kamala Harris interview, like a completely normal interview. Trump threw his toys and said, you made her look smarter than she is. I'm suing you for 16 million. And because this merger was going together worth 8 billion, right, they paid him. So Paramount or CNBC, I think it wasn't, or CBC or whatever it is, paid him $16 million to settle that lawsuit, even though it was not void. So this is obviously a commentary by the guys who are now on Paramount, a commentary about what pussies 60 Minutes is, and the managers at Paramount actually were for settling that.
Bit of a shot there at 60 Minutes. South Park season premiere was one for the history books. That episode aired one day before the FCC finally approved the Paramount Skydance merger that has seen lawsuits settled and shows canceled. As for President Trump's opinion on that particular South Park episode,
I've never watched South Park. I don't know anything about South Park.
Bullshit.
I never watched South Park.
a White House statement says the show's popularity has hit record lows. In fact, South Park is proving to be a very valuable asset as Paramount inked a $1.5 billion deal, to exclusively air South Park on its streaming channel. The creators had this to say about that first episode.
This is brilliant.
Did you anticipate the reaction today? Have you been following it? What do you make of it?
We're terribly sorry.
That's it. That's their only commentary on it. We're terribly sorry. Yeah, it's just fascinating. South Park creators make mock apology to Trump. We don't need to go through all of this, but it says we're terribly sorry. They're just, it's like this, right? This is how I thought of it. I was dumbfounded watching that episode. Like I can actually, this is how old I am. I can remember where I was sitting watching C4 when the Cartman Gets an Anal Probe show was shown for the first time. So I saw series 1, episode 1, purely by chance because I was sitting on a couch in Pakuranga as a student where I was flatting. What's happened, right? These guys have left Trump alone because basically he satires himself. They haven't really wanted to do too much on him. They had Garrison as Trump over the last couple of seasons, but they haven't really gone for him. But what it feels to me, I was watching it and I was going, holy shit, what? Like it was mind-numbingly different. What it feels like is the toughest kid at school. Chewie, the toughest kid at school, he knows jiu-jitsu, but he's actually quite a nice guy. Everyone likes him. He gets on really well with him. And then there's this bully who's been giving the classmates shit for years. And finally, the toughest guy in school who knows jiu-jitsu goes, I've had enough. And he demolishes the bully to the cheers and the joy of all the other kids in school. Trey and Matt are the jiu-jitsu masters at this because they hit all the immature things that will offend and annoy Trump more than anything. And it was something to behold. Like, honestly, you watch this will win awards, this episode, it's amazing. It's amazing. And not only is it amazing for what they did to Trump, it's amazing for what they did to Paramount and CBS. They just, any interview with them, you'll see they say, we don't give a shit. Like they took LSD and wore Jennifer Lopez dresses, went to the Oscars for Blame Canada, the song. They genuinely don't give a fuck. And if you ever question that, that was all I could think at the end of this. This is the most gangster thing I have ever seen anybody do ever in the world of entertainment, to go, fuck you all. It was unbelievable. So
it'll be interesting to see where they go from here, because I mentioned the last sort of couple of minutes of that episode is very different from the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen it, they've essentially done a live action thing, a pro-Trump message that the town has to do.
Yeah.
Where
so hang on, so you know that
the biblical story.
Yeah, so that the reference there is CBS has to give Trump $20 million worth of advertising along with that 16. So this is a direct, again, fist in the face of Paramount for doing that. So what you're seeing here is Randy signing off a deal, $3 million it's going to cost them, and they have to do pro-Trump advertising. And that's what you're just talking about. And I'll show you the card that you're talking about. The pro-Trump advertising looks a bit like, come on, we're South Park. We can do this. Anytime now. So because I wonder if what we'll see is actually one of two things. Like, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about this this title piece, aren't you? This one right here, that one.
That. So I saw that and I was like, pro-Trump PSA, 1 of 50. And I'm just, if you've got 50 of these in the can and we're going to see them on every South Park episode until Trump's term is over, then that'd be amazing.
The other thing, and this would be, I think, even more gangster, because the guys who do jiu-jitsu, who have just beaten up the bully, they can now ignore him. They've done their job. You know, that would be the other thing, if they basically never mention him again. It's like, we've done our job. We did what we needed to do. And I just wonder if
Don't worry,
that might be
it's
part.
going to get worse.
Yeah,
however
it's not
bad you think it is, it gets worse from there.
It does
worse
get worse.
than
We're
you
not going to
could
see
possibly imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other big thing, the big middle finger, I guess it is, for actually, I'll take this over here and I'll read it to you. I am being a little bit careful with what we're doing to hopefully not get taken off or taken down. So Jesus comes back, and the storyline here is that as a part of the legal agreement, they wanted to have Jesus in schools more, again, much like Trump. But the actual script to this is amazing. Jesus says, he gives out their body, he gives out their bread, do this in memory of me. And Jesus says, I'm going to not do the little voice, because he does it on his, like, he can't really hear what he's saying. He goes, I didn't want to come back and be in this school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit and the agreement with Paramount, just names them. The president is suing you. Clenched teeth. This is where he says it through the side of his teeth. This guy can do whatever he wants now that someone backed down. Okay? Eat the bread, eat the bread. You guys saw what happened to CBS? Yeah, well, guess who owns CBS? Paramount. Do you really want to end up like Colbert? You guys got to stop being stupid. We can't understand you, someone says, because he's got his clenched teeth, which you'll see in a second. Just shut up or we're going to get cancelled, you idiots. What the hell is he saying? Tom, they're calling it the Sermon from the Mount. This is the next guy. And then through clenched teeth again. If someone has the power of the presidency and also has the power to sue and take bribes, then he can do anything to anyone. It's the fucking president, dude. All of you shut the fuck up or South Park is over. It's fucking over. Just stop and shut the fuck up. It's what Jesus is saying to the people of South Park, talking about the television that is South Park and what the president could do to them all, like he did to Colbert. I have no words. It's gangster. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen someone do in entertainment. It's better than any kind of you know how rappers call each other out in their lyrics and stuff. It's better than any of those. It's better than No Vaseline, in my opinion, by Ice Cube, which is the number one diss track in the world. This superlatives, I can't even think, so I'm not speaking straight. It's just so much better. Anyway, Chewie, that's kind of all I was going to show. Do you want to add anything to the end?
Yes, the next South Park episode, we're just going to read to you. We're going to do a dramatic reading. I'll polish up on my Cartman, and also Pat will polish up on his Cartman as well. We'll just do it all in Cartman voices.
Okay, guys. Expect my character.
See? Sorry. Something to look forward to.
I just can't get over how we've said this so many times before, like, and it was a quote from Al Gore when he was talking to Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart looks at Al Gore and he goes, why are we saying this on the Daily Show and none of the other news sites are saying it? Yeah. And Al Gore looks at him and he goes, because it's only the jester that can tell the king the truth without fear of getting their head cut off. And you've just seen the modern incarnation of it.
Well, there's another aspect to that fascists hate being made fun of.
Yep.
And I think if you look at, Colbert was an example, right? Yep, it's an entertainment show, but at its heart, Colbert is a comedian. The Colbert Report was long-running, and
Groundbreaking.
excellent, groundbreaking satire of the right-wing media that was so good that sometimes people mistook it for right-wing media.
Yep, 100%.
So, the fact that Trump is taking shots at comedians, I think, really just plays into that thing that we wanted to avoid for the longest time of like, don't we call Trump a fascist? I think everybody that was saying unequivocally, yes, he's a fascist, don't be afraid to say it, they were right.
Yeah.
Like, the further down this pathway they go, the more obvious it is.
Yeah. And, it's been a weird few years because I'm going to say arguably, because some will disagree, people like Dave Chappelle have been on the top of the heap of stand-up comedians. And Dave went down a certain path and, people pulled away from him because of his, I guess, social views and some issues, and it wasn't comfortable anymore. And then, Elon Musk, hey, let's legalize comedy again. It's like, okay, bitch, here you go. Here's your legalized comedy. And it's probably an example of that whole thing about comedy. Comedy does punch at maybe whatever is making the most noise. And maybe there's a swing coming. It's really interesting to see Rogan. Last thing, he burnt bridges, Do you think Trump's ever going to want to talk to him again after he thinks that this was hilarious? Not that he should care, but he's actually at least being authentic in the world of comedy, realizing that these guys have done it. These guys have done what media should have been doing for the past decade. They've done it in one episode, and they've done it better than anyone's done it, which is why I'm thinking to it might just go away. They've proved their point. Anytime you want to fuck with us, we can take you down. Proved your point. Maybe. And the little icing on the top was Saddam Hussein's voice as Donald Trump. And the devil going, whoa, you remind me of something else I used to go out with. A Middle Eastern dictator. Yeah, exactly.